Hello, I hope everybody's had a good week. Today we're doing tops. Not this kind of top, but these kind of tops. So the first thing I thought about doing was making the tops for the ball mason jars. And it's a simple project. The way I do it, I've also seen a lot of this on different videos on YouTube. And I think the way I kind of do it, you do have to buy two more items that you may or may not have. One, you need a item, a Forster bit that is 2 7/8, and that's a pretty good sized bit. So forget going to Lowe's or Home Depot or any place like that and getting that. I do have a link below for it from Amazon. The other thing is the jaws for my chuck. When I got my chuck, it came with a 100mm and a 50mm. So I bought the 70mm because I needed that for this particular project and a couple other things that I have in the future. Other than those two items, if you already have the 70mm or you have something that can go from 50 past 70, then you should be fine using it. First of all, let me give you a little bit of information about where this came from. I didn't make it up or invent it or anything like that. I've seen these at craft shows and just different places, and they're kind of a neat little thing to give as a gift for your neighbors, and just to spur the moment kind of thing, to have something like this available to be used at any time. I think that the best way to make these are just out of your scrap wood. Everybody's got a little 3.5 by 3.5, and you just square it up and then cut it in a circle, making sure that your final circle is approximately 3.5 inches. That gives you plenty of room to make different shapes on the sides, and also plenty of room on the top. You can actually turn and make the 2 7/8 hole by just using a regular tool to hollow it out. It just makes it a little bit faster if you're going to be doing more of them, and at the price of about $12 at Amazon and free shipping if you have Prime, it's not a bad deal to have one, and they can be sharpened. And so far I've cut probably 20 of them, and cuts just as good as it did cut. I don't really rush it, and I try not to put it in a lot of a load, or the lathe in a load rather. Also, one of the good things is if you're able to cut with a bandsaw or some other kind of saw, as long as you're just kind of rounding it up, makes it a little easier for turning. And using the 100mm jaws, you got plenty of room to grab hold of this. My Harbor Freight motor has 3/4 horse power to it, and I was really concerned about it working. I had seen a couple videos where they were using 2 and 3 horse to do this, and I thought, man, I'm really going to have to take it slow. Now this is cedar, and it is fairly soft wood, and I did do it with some pine, which was a bit harder, and it really didn't have a problem. You just can't rush it. You just saw right there, I did that in regular time so that you could kind of get a feel of how well it does. I make a mark on my bit that tells me 5/8 of an inch, so I know how far in to go, and I'm just watching to see how far it goes in. This next one I'm going to go a little bit faster. I don't really think that it's the type of motor. I think it's more about the type of wood that you're cutting. Well, let me back this up and change it out real quick. Okay, now it really didn't look any faster, but I was putting more pressure on it, and it was cutting actually faster. But I really didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. And I just really had a problem holding it. I didn't want to go too fast. But, that's less than 10 seconds to do it. And it just generated a bunch more heat by doing it fast like that. But I think it does fine. And here's another one. Pretty much same thing. I think I did kind of speed it up, but I didn't put as much pressure on it. So basically what we've done so far is we've squared up the wood. We've cut a circle on the bandsaw. And then we put the drill bit in the chuck, and now we're drilling out 5/8 inch deep. And we're using the 100mm jaws on this. This may be the one I went a little faster, I don't know. But it was cutting good. So I did all these in a row, and actually I did about 14 or 15 and just did all of them at one time. And of course, saving any kind of ribbons or anything that gets cut off that looks kind of weird. I usually keep up with stuff like that, for you never know when you need it in the future. Now we're basically looking down, and I'm starting to kind of smooth up the wood and start doing different designs. At this point, there is no right or wrong, or basically you just want to trim out everything. I like trimming the edge near the chuck, just for the simple fact it's not blocked off and looks real big coming off the jar. By the way, these jars that I'm doing are called jelly jars, and they go from real small to fairly decent in size. And here we go. I'm pulling out this. I don't know what my brain's thinking. That's right, it's all wood. It should work. Except for what I don't remember is that the amount of force that's holding that on there. I don't know. I just kind of go crazy when I get that in my hands. I love it. I love using it, but it's it does a good job, but it puts a lot of stress on everything, and so it probably would rip that out if I really did use it hard. I actually just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and I got to thinking about cutting that edge and what it would take to. I'm not going to do it. So the main thing at this point is just to make a design, and pretty much every time I did one, I tried to make it a little bit different. And I did spend a bit more time on this one. I got pretty good at just trying to make some grooves and just trying to make it look a little bit different than the one I just did before. This one really was just coming apart. I didn't want to put any CA glue into it. I didn't want to, do anything like that. This is just supposed to be, just a gift or just something you're giving away or whatever. So I didn't want to put a lot of effort in it. And there was one or two of them that I did that I came back to later, which I think that one was one, and just took my time and just kind of cleaned it up with the tools and some sanding. But we'll get into that in just a minute. Well, the battery went dead on my camera, so I got to really keep an eye on it and keep checking it for that. That's just my fault. So that's why it kind of jumps to this. This is the one I was working on, and this is with the finish and everything put on it. And so you just basically take each one of them and try to make something different out of it. One of the good things that I didn't say about this is that I actually got or watched a video that's online. I'll try to put the link on it for it, but it was done in about 2015, I think it was, and it was Ron Brown, and he brought up a lot of interesting things about it. And his that he showed or that he did were a lot of detail and really, really a nice way of doing it and a different way of doing it. I kind of went my way and did it with all the stuff I've got. He puts finials on top and knobs and things like that, and um, I'm just trying to get them done, and I would like to maybe do something like that at a certain time. But anyway, but I would encourage you to look at the notes that I have and underneath this video, and I will definitely try to get that video link on there for you to take a look at. As long as it's spinning, it looks real good. This wood is so dry that I'm turning it like this, and everything is just coming off real good and feeling real good. And I notice everything is really small chips, and so basically when I wind up turning it off, this was one of the ones that I put to the side and went back to doing it the way I was doing it, which is without this scraper. Scraper does fine. It's just this, you've got to use a tool that works with the wood and that can work with you and combination everything. Let me show you what I'm talking about when I turn it off here in just a few seconds. And I did come back to it and I did clean it up. This is one of the ones that's in the end that has the finish and everything. And I didn't sand it forever. I just went back and cut it way less aggressive. I mean, look at that. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. And I really wish I had it at this point, the finish one that I did of it. But I did get it cleaned up and it turned out good. It's just, you just can't be aggressive with this wood. And I think I started with this, just cutting it really slow, and it's amazing what some of these tools can do, especially when somebody else is using them. Well, I actually turned it off here, and it was better, but it was still a long ways from what I wanted. So I put it aside, came back later, kind of cleaned it up, and just took a little bit more time with it. And it actually did good. Here's another one that I started on and finished, and it turned out pretty good. I just sanded it. It turned out good. I pretty much sanded all of these with 180 and just kind of left it at that. After all, you don't want to make it super slick. Be hard to turn the jar. I used Howard's products. It's feed and wax wood polish. It's pretty heavy in wax, and it smoothed out a lot of different things on it. They turned out good. They feel real good. And this is some of it here. Try to get it on where it doesn't swing all off. It's the only time I'm really careful. So after I put the polish on all of them and got them shaped a little bit different from the one I was doing earlier, now it's actually time to move the lids to the jars and hot glue them onto the top of the jars. We're not really hot gluing to the top of the jars, we're hot gluing them to the lid, and really not even the lid. Actually, we're hot gluing it to the ring, And I wish I had separated the ring and the lid so you'd understand. But basically you can just put the hot glue in the wood part just in the corner, and then take the jar with the lid on it and just press it down onto the glue, and it actually forms a bond on the ring, which is the round part that you screw on. The lid is the part that seals it, and you're not gluing the lid on, you're just gluing the ring on. It's kind of different, or confusing, I guess. I mean, if you're into canning, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing you might want to keep in mind is that when you press the ring in there with the hot glue, you're really just trying to get the corners. You're not really trying to get anything else, or the lid. You don't want to glue that in. You want it to come out so that if the people want to seal something, it can't be glued in, or shouldn't be glued in. I'll tell you something really funny and weird in a way, how my mind forgets things quite often. In the beginning, I came up with the idea of using the idea of about a top, and when I said a top, the first thing I thought about was a spinning top, a spinning wooden top. And of course I was talking about these jars and a regular top being put on top of the jars. So I made a top to spin, and it spins real good, but I forgot to take a picture of it, so I had to go on Google and just get a picture of a bunch of tops, but I really hadn't planned on using it, and then I gave it away, and so I could have got it back for a picture, but I decided not to do that. But anyway, the top shows up here at the end of the video. I still have not got my camera fixed where I can see the monitor and see that, like, for example, on this, the camera's too low. That's why the napkin is there, is to kind of tell me this was the center of the camera, but it didn't help out any for that. I'm going to try to figure out how to get that fixed, though, because it is aggravating for me, and I'm sure y'all looking at the bottom of the jars doesn't help any either. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate all the comments that I do get on the different videos, which I only have 3, but I'm certainly working on trying to go further. Well, I guess this one would be the 4th one, but I also have one for the top. I thought about throwing it out there sometime next week, and just how I turned it. And it really spins for a long time. It's pretty impressive. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedule and watching my videos. I hope that you're learning something. And if you ever have a question, please write a comment. Please ask. I'd be more than happy to answer it. Also, if you see anything that you like in these videos, you can also let me know about that. I'll try to do more of those. Finally move the camera. If you watch it to the end until the top falls, please respond in a comment section that I did. Oh, and remember one more thing. God is good.